Hey, you know what time it is?
What time is it, man?
The bleep time! Hey, what's going on, everybody? I'm your host, Class. This is my co-host,
Mr. J. What's
going on, guys? Yeah, we're back at it again, and we're here for the next tournament. Opponents, competitors that we're having, and we're going to give you just a short clip of the previous competitors.
And go.
We have the Incredible Hulk versus who we got going against.
The Hulk is going up against Doomsday.
Doomsday! Hard to say that Hulk could just go right into that body and just rip it out. There ain't nothing to rip out. This dude is just all mass. He's just pure evil. He's beating Darkseid. Darkseid wanted him out of his planet. He had Superman to get him out. That was like...
Yeah, that was nuts.
How much Hulk puts in at him, throws at him, tries to even throw buildings, anything at him. That it's not gonna be enough.
Worldbreaker Hulk is a result of Bruce Banner just giving up, letting the Hulk take complete control and rage out. That, I think, is gonna give him an edge. He's gonna be able to confuse him. You know, Doomsday's not very smart. He's not very clever. He's like seriously a mindless beast. So I feel like Hulk would be able to outsmart him early on in the fight, trap him somehow.
Yeah.
Not in the sense like trap him and keep him there, but he would, set a trap to weaken. End of my spiel I will give is basically Hulk will have to just become Worldbreaker Hulk. He'll have to elevate his rage and his anger. He's gonna have to like rip Doomsday apart, throw one half in the sun, throw one half in the ocean. He's gonna have to really step it up with his rage and what he can do in his power.
Or he can hit him so hard he hit him to the just far ends of the galaxy. I mean, it's still a win, right?
To the moon, Alice! To the moon!
But Planet Hulk would give him a run for his money, so much so that maybe with enough gamma in Hulk's system and enough rage in his system, maybe he would be able to beat Doomsday and be able to take him and find a way to get him out. Don't get me wrong, Hulk would still need to figure out a strategy, but I'm figuring Hulk is a little bit smarter than Doomsday, even when Hulk is being Hulk. You know? So, if we're going to give the winner, I would have to give it to Hulk. Alright, so, now that we got that out of the way, today we got two of the most interesting powerhouse characters. Yeah. Both lightning, both godlike beings. We're talking, you know what we're talking about.
Two very big heavy hitters today. We have Thor Odinson versus Shazam.
Shazam! And this is gonna get real, guys, because not gonna lie, this is a tough battle. This is one of the most toughest battles I've ever had to debate.
Yeah, this is, we definitely went back and forth on this a lot, and we're still, like, not sure.
Yeah, this is like neck to neck. This is close. It's like in the finish line, and there's gotta be at least a toe or a tongue that sticks out for you to finish and say, oh, that person won by the nose or something,
It's just really hard to call,
Yeah. But whichever one we decide, we'll move on to the next round and we'll compete against who knows. Will he go against the Incredible Hulk? Will he go against the Man of Steel? We don't know. We're going to get that on random selection just to kind of give this a little more fun. All right, so.
That is definitely what today's episode is going to cover.
Yeah. All right. So, let's get the first competitor out of the way. I'm going to start with my argument, which is Shazam. And my boy's going to be representing Thor, of course. So, I'm not going to lie. These two are very, very, very hard to pin against each other because both have some godlike powers. Both are very strong. Pretty much both use the lightning, both use the thunder. They both are they have the energy, they have all this stuff, and stamina. Durability wise, they can go at it forever, for centuries, because they apparently can't eat or sleep as long as Shazam's in his form and as long as Thor is just being Thor. Both men are impossible to take down, so it's kind of a tough fight. When you look at the strategical moves, though, you do have to give Thor some of the credibility there because he does have more fighting experience than Shazam does. Yeah. That's a given. But when you're going against 6 energy forces that are coming from godlike beings, that could also take a toll in itself. So this is the way I'm gonna have to see Shazam trying to win this fight against Thor. First off, it's gonna be about trying to break Thor's spirit mentally. Now, the only way he's gonna be able to do that is destroying Mjolnir. Now, I don't know if he can do it. I honestly don't know if he has that capability, but that's pretty much the only way I can see Shazam getting Thor off his game. Because if you recall in the movie, there was an incident where Thor had Mjolnir broken and he was completely lost. And he couldn't fight his sister at that time because of that situation. Now, I don't know if the comics they're related, because I don't think they're related in the comics, but in the movie's adaptation, they're related. I don't know, is it?
In the comics, Hela is actually Loki's daughter.
Ah, okay. Well, that being the case, though, like, you could see that ability or that moment did kind of freak Thor out. And that's the only way I think Shazam would have the ability. But then there's that other upper hand of holding the hammer himself. Now, Thor's hammer you can only possess the power of Thor's power if you are worthy enough. Now, Shazam, he's a 15-year-old kid. He hasn't really done anything yet. He hasn't committed any crimes, hasn't done anything, hate speech or anything. So the kid's pretty nice and he has that ability to be able to lift that hammer. He does seem worthy, considering the fact that he got the powers of Shazam. I mean, obviously they would consider him worthy for the hammer. Now, if he gets the hammer, that backfires. That's where Thor might have a disadvantage, because Thor is strong, but against his own hammer, mentally having to deal with that, along with the fact that this guy also possesses the same type of almost position of power that Thor has, it might give Thor a psych out. And the psych out is where Shazam would take the advantage from it. Now, the hammer throwing throws on Thor, I feel like that would be the way Shazam would win it. Now, I want to talk about the speed, because obviously Shazam is faster than Thor. That's probably the only one upper advantage that Thor might not have against Shazam. Shazam is really, really incredibly fast. So I believe that's where the speed would take the hammer. All it would take is just an opportunity. Now, once he gets the hammer, throws blows on Thor, I feel like enough of those hits, enough of that speed thrown at him, I feel like Thor would be probably meeting his maker. Right. Your turn.
That is a very good compelling argument. I will give you that. Shazam definitely does seem to be faster. But see, the thing is, Thor's fast too. Thor can reach up to like Mach 32, something like that, on his own, I believe. He is fast if he throws the hammer, but like it's a control thing, He has to be able to throw it, hold on to it, but he's still incredibly fast. But where Thor is going to have the advantage, I believe, would just be his strength. Whether it be his brute raw strength on his own. But really, when it comes down to it, as strong as Shazam is and all the abilities he does have, I just don't see him really... I see him maybe surviving 1 or 2 blows from the hammer. But see, the thing is, the hammer in itself has abilities in itself.
Yep.
It is pretty much bound to Thor. See, like when people say, Thor would throw it and he would catch it and he's worthy, I don't see the hammer really disobeying Thor while he's there. I see the hammer really when it's lost to him, then maybe seeking out a new wielder. But you also have to remember, Thor has more than one. I'm sorry, I cannot pronounce it. I try my best. But,
oh yeah, me too. we were gonna have fun with that.
Thor also possesses his axe, which he used before Mjolnir. What's Yarnborn or something?
It's not Stormbreaker.
I can't pronounce it. Yeah, and then he does have Stormbreaker, which is pretty much like Mjolnir. Some would say either equally as powerful, maybe slightly less, but he has more than Mjolnir. Which Mjolnir does have that, cosmic storm that's held within inside of it.
That's true.
Which that Thor can draw from that power, and he can use that, and it can create a god beam, which is pretty much what that is there's a beam that Mjolnir can release from it, that it harnesses the power of Asgardian power, and it launches it, concentrates it into a beam, and this beam is strong enough to where it is capable of slaying immortals. See, I don't see Shazam really standing up to that. I don't see him doing well with that at all.
Yeah.
But like I said, that is more, there's more advantages I think Thor has. One being his age and his experience. Billy Batson himself is 15 years old.
Yeah.
Thor is 1,500 years old.
Yeah.
So like there's a big gap there, and I just feel like Thor would be able, even though yes he does have that huge cocky superiority complex, and you feel like he rushes in head first and can't be killed, but I feel like eventually with his age and his experience and his wisdom, especially on the battlefield, he would be able to realize like this kid it's a kid. He only has these abilities because of, there's something there, and he would be able to figure out how he, he's like, oh, there's a word, Shazam, he'd make him say it.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I'd make that. I agree, because I'd make the case from his age that he would be cocky. Shazam would have thought he'd beaten Thor, and then he would have been like, I beat Thor, and then he would have turned around, would have been like, Shazam turned back into a 15-year-old kid.
Yeah,
and then Thor
I kind of see, Billy Batson just kind of rushing in, not really knowing what to expect, because he's beaten people like Superman, Black Adam. There's a couple other big names in there. He's definitely a capable opponent. It's just I see him rushing in kind of head first and cocky and arrogant, much like Thor, but I would think he would let his guard down a little too quick and Thor would catch him.
Yeah, okay, so now I'm going to just make the case why, because we're going to have to decide who's going to move to the next round, and we already both made pretty much our case on how.
Unless you guys vote.
Yeah, unless you guys vote and you guys decide. You have to beat R2, though, just to be fair, okay? If you have two people who vote the opposite of us, that's a tie. If you get a third person to vote that, then that's beating our vote.
If you say Shazam, just put Shazam in the comments. If you vote for Thor, put Thor.
So here's what I'm trying to think about it. So I agree, because here's where Shazam, I feel like if Shazam had the newer abilities. Now, some of the comic book fans are aware of,
his abilities change.
Yeah, they change, and then he gets into different gods, and they're more powerful than the original gods, and that's already crazy in itself. But the fact is, from that perspective, I felt like that would have Thor's number. But we're not playing it in those games. We're playing it with Shazam being who he is now. And since Thor has been Thor for centuries, and he's been living out for thousands upon millions upon years, it's hard to say that man has never been beaten. So Shazam hasn't been around the block long enough where Thor has been around taking beatings left and right. Yeah. So we got to give it to the God of Thunder. I gotta give it to him. Even if I believe Shazam would have had the hammer at any point in time. By the way, Mjolnir can. I didn't know this, but apparently that hammer is super fast. So I mean, you gotta. Even if you were trying to grab it, it would be impossible to grab.
What is it? It can reach the end of the earth, the end of the universe, something like that.
Yeah, it was
60 seconds.
It was in 60 seconds. Okay, that's crazy.
That's why I made the argument. I was just like, look, Thor is actually. He's deceptively fast. People do not expect him to be fast.
Yep.
But he is. He's incredibly fast without the hammer.
Yep. And yeah, so I mean that's the case. Like I'm just gonna say this. My vote on this. Who won? Who's winning this one? I give it to the God of Thunder, Thor. He's got it. He's got my vote. He's got his vote.
Obviously.
Yeah. And it's not like an unbiased thing. We're just because the reality is, it's like Shazam is incredible. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
he's got incredible powers, incredible being, but Thor's been around the block longer. If you were to think the young OG from the old OG, who would you think is gonna win who?
Well, really, he's supposed to make the argument for Shazam, but I guess my argument was compelling enough.
And because we gotta, at the end of the day, even if we make both two opposite ends of the debate, we gotta come to one conclusion, because at the end we gotta decide who's gonna go into the next tournament. Yeah. But if you guys don't agree with our vote, again, you guys can leave it down in the comment section below, and you guys can decide who's gonna go into the next round in 2021. By the way, we're going to finish off tomorrow, I believe, the next tournament with Juggernaut versus Killer Croc. So we're excited about that, and yeah, hopefully you guys decide to vote for who you guys thought was better, and hopefully you guys liked this. If you guys did, please share, subscribe to the channel as always. You have anything?
Shazam, Thor. Put it in the comments. They're turned on, I swear.
All right, catch you guys later, guys.
We love you guys.
Peace.